Good evening. The hooves today, the galloping hooves, they were at Canterbury today. There's been a bit of a rumour going around. Well, not a rumour. It's been on. We've heard it for quite a while now that apparently I don't know whether they're broke or what the situation is, but they're thinking they keep on saying, "Oh, we're going to sell Canterbury. We've got to get some cash." It'd be a big mistake to sell Canterbury. We know racing is not attracting any patrons at the moment. Just the usual suspects turn up every meeting. Very few punters. The tab holdings across the counter in the TAB, now that they're betting fixed odds, it keeps on going down, as I keep on saying, as we talk. They're betting in pennies across the counter on the tab. But it'd be a huge mistake to sell Canterbury, because we all know in years to come, hopefully racing could possibly boom again. And of course, to have a track like Canterbury so close to the city, where it's situated, it'd turn into a Moonee Valley situation. It would be a huge mistake. So, instead of selling Canterbury, you've got to get the right people have got to start running racing, and so to prevent that happening, and instead of bad management and having to sell the assets. Anyway, today the Who's were on at Canterbury. The track was a heavy 8 or 9, 8, 7, whatever it was. It's a very gluey situation. There was a couple of light showers during the day, one during the last race. The rail was in the normal position. There was a nice stiff cold southeasterly, so when the leaders turned for home, they ran into it. So I suppose that was slightly against leaders turning for home, but on the fence was the place to be, saving ground on the fence. It wasn't real greyhoundish. There were runners that did run on, but it was an advantage, as I say, to be on the fence. The first race, and this proved the case here, Murder of Crows, ridden by Nippy Nash in a field of 5. He went straight to the front. We put it up a 5 to 2 on chance. I think they returned, well, the best luck was $1.55. I think they might have turned at $1.50. I was $1.60 when they jumped, and it was $1.60 on the fence. They said there was 111.2 on the screen. Well, there's 10 less in the marketplace, only 101. As I say, it was $1.60 the favourite. Number 2, New Divide, $11. You wouldn't have seen it, but well, there's $3.50 on the fence and $3.80 in the outside ring about Red Hawks. $21 about the next one, a Majestic Rain, and a 201 Mandalong Song. Nippy Nash went straight to the lead. It sat on its outside, Red Hawks, and the second horse having its first start, New Divide, it slipped up in the slipstream behind the leader on the fence. The margins were 1 3/4, beating the first starter, number 2, and it was 6 3/4 lengths away, back in third place, Red Hawks, a fairly ordinary run. The second race, they said there was 111.3 on the screen, 5 less in the marketplace, about 106%. And this winner, What About, who went around at Gosford at its only start, wasn't a bad run. The horse that finished second in that race was a really good run at Gosford. It was a much better run than this, so it'll be hard to beat when it starts next. But What About, it wasn't. There was no whadding about not backing this runner. What About was $10 into $7.50, fairly hard to get. It sort of half-carded 3 wide up near the lead, and it was just a little bit too strong for the first starter, Anapor, who opened up only a $3 chance. Bookies reached for it. The captains got it out to as much as $4.40. It only started $4. They killed you for $4.20 at one stage. I think I laid it fairly well at that price. But the winner was extremely well backed, to say. The second horse got a cosy run, even though it missed the kick slightly, was able to get through on the fence to sit right behind the leader. It led on the fence, Exceline from barrier 1. And when they turned for home, Nippy Nash tried to push Father Schofield out of the way. Father Schofield said, no, you can't do that. It gave him a bit of a nudge back, but then the second horse got clear and actually got to the lead. But the winner, What About, with one run under its belt, was a little bit too strong in the finish and beat him by a nose on the line. As I say, the winner, What About, it sat in third or fourth hole, 3 wide sort of thing. Outside the leader was from barrier 2 was Let's Frolic, and it sat fourth, 3 wide so it wasn't a bad run. The winner in that position, especially when you're at Canterbury. There was a good run in this race by number 8, a first starter. Didn't know much about it, Mariah, or how do you say it, Maria. It's very green. It copped a bit of a check at the start, and then got onto heels and pulled slightly, got another slight check, and it made up plenty of ground when got to the outside in the straight, and possibly it is the best horse in that race. It ran third in the race. Contrite Heart, it sucked along the fence and eased off heels in the straight. They were beaten 2.1 and 2.2 lengths in the third and fourth hole. Race 3, they said there was 111 on the screen. Now here's another race where there's 10% difference in the marketplace. There was 101 only in the marketplace, and well, the favourite, excuse me, Eurozone, it got the cash. We put it up a $2.30 chance, 11 to 8 to field. Got to $2.50 out in the outside ring. Started got back into about $2.30 at one stage. Started $2.40, and it was given a cosy run. It led on the fence. It's not possible. It led on the fence. Highway Child. It finished up running last, a 60 to 1 chance. On its outside was Suit, who finished up running second. It was having its first start from the Snowden camp, and it was very easy in the money, very easy in the betting. Suit. It went from $6 out to $13, back into 12. It did run. It sat outside the lead, as I say, held on very well. And fourth in this race was the second favourite, having its first start, Our Boy Nicholas, ridden by Nippy Nash. It was sort of coming around the circle 3 wide in fourth position. And when they turned for home, it ran up to the leaders, but as it did, it was gone in the next stride. It finished up running third, beaten 2.6 lengths, but it did take this favourite, who did trial very well, and raced with a crossover noseband on today, which wasn't announced as part of its gear. And when it was eased around the weakening leader's heels, and Suit, who had got clear, it took it all the length of the straight to run Suit down to beat it by 0.3 of a length. And as I say, the second favourite, Our Boy Nicholas, it ran third, beaten 2.6. It came from well back Dog Tags, number 2, was beaten 3 odd lengths. It hung out in the straight, and it also it was very wide on the turn. So what do you say in that race? I suppose the winner is very genuine, and it might win again. Race 4, there's a bit of a discrepancy here in what you could get in the marketplace and what was offered to you, best fluckers. It's terribly fancy being best flucked at the races. 106.2 they said on the flucked screen, but there was about 97 in the marketplace. You wouldn't have seen it, but there was $5.50 about number 1, Canasta Queen, fairly ordinary netty. Went from $3, a 2 to 1 chance out to 9 to 2, $5.50 back into 5. Commanding Wit went from $2.50 out to $3 back into $2.90. Might have even been able to get, which would make it worse, of course, $3.20 about Commanding Wit. Gone Platinum, $2.80 out to $3.50 back into $3. Rhymes didn't have a price, $8 to 17. Such a Princess, you wouldn't see it, $11 into 850, extremely well backed, the winner, got a charm run, and $50 into 40, burst through, you wouldn't see the 50. So there's minimum 97, could have even been a little bit less. It led Gone Platinum. It's a fairly ordinary runner. It hung out in the straight. Right behind it on the fence was, there are only 6 runners in this race, and right behind it on the fence was the winner, Such a Princess, who ran second to John O'Shea's grey little filly at Kembla, beaten a long way, so it's a big rap for John O'Shea's horse. Sitting outside, the leader was Canasta Queen. It gave in fairly ordinary, and in the 1-1 position was the favourite, the second pick, the favourite, Commanding Wit, the $2.90 favourite. It moved up to the leaders 3 wide on the turn, looked as if it'd go on, but getting inside the leader, which hung slightly on the turn, was the winner. And it, because I suppose close to the fence, could have been the difference between the head margin or the 0.2 of a length, and it got its noggin in front on the line and beat the favourite. And that was about all you would say there. Race 5, they said there was 104.3 on the screen. There was only 102, a couple less in the marketplace. And this winner, I lost on this race. Carjahan, number 10, won it. It was 40s. There was a late scratching at the barrier. It bolted on its rider, Quizzed, as they were going out. Now, before that, there was 102 on the screen before the scratching of Quizzed, who was $11 into only $7.50 at the time. But the winner, it was one of the first runners backed in this event. All the $41 was taken and the 31, and before the scratching of the 13-2 chance, it was a $26 chance, and after that, we made it they returned it 19. You could still get 20 after the scratching of Quizzed. And it sat back in second last position, turning in the run. And when they turned for home, he slid along the 18 pence. He was slightly held up at one stage, getting a run. When he did get the run and got a middle split, he was able to put his head in front of Trickshot, who had every possible chance. It got inside the leader, Madam Nash, who had the 60.5 kilos today, and didn't get out. How did it win that day it ran? Can anybody tell me? Anyway, as I say, Trickshot had every possible chance, not going around a runner, beaten 0.4 of a length by this $19 or $20 chance. And down the outside was Sweet Talking Woman, who I suppose the difference between winning and losing in this race was it had to go around them coming to the turn. It was hard ridden at about the 800 metre mark and going nowhere, but it picked up a bit when pulled wide in the straight, and it was beaten 0.6 of a length. As I say, most probably the difference between winning and losing was it had to come around them, and the winner went along the fence, getting a good run. The favourite, Madam Nash, well, she didn't set up the big break that she did when they all tripped over each other behind her last start at Randwick. And even though she was a couple, 2.5 lengths clear down the back straight, you could see she was in trouble when they were getting to the turn. She finished up running fourth, beaten 2.4 lengths. Fairly Carjahan, very one-pace plugger, and these distance races, they do produce a different winner, all depending on how the races are run generally. The 6th race, they said there was 108 on the screen, 5% less in the marketplace, 103. Who won this? Visitor from down, well, changed stable now, it's trained in Sydney, but it was trained down in Melbourne. Medvedev, and you wouldn't see it, but $4 was given about this runner. We put it up the $2.80 favourite, and it was reached for, got out to $4, as I say, which wouldn't appear on the flux screen. It did only start the $3.30 mark. It sat in, was given a good run by Huey Horseman Bowman in 3rd position. Leading in this race was Sergeant at Arms, who was very well backed. We put it up a $4 chance out to $4.60, back into $4, laid it. and as I say, and sitting second was the $20 chance Oakdale Royal on its outside, who copped a bit of a check when weakening in the straight. Didn't get beat that far for a 20-to-1 chance. But in the third position, looking at the leaders all the way, was the winner, Medeyev, and it proved a bit too strong. It won by 2 lengths, beating Sergeant at Arms. The Fantastic Ballad, who settled back on second or last on the fence, there wasn't a fast pace. They ran along at an even pace, even time, and I thought it might have had a better turn of foot than it did, but it didn't, and it only plugged to the line. It finished up running 5th. Running 3rd in the race, coming from last, was Zaza Dinks, who circled coming around the bend and ran 3rd, beaten 3 lengths, but was never going to be able to catch the winner. We got to the last race, and they said on the screen there was 101.9. There was only about 97 in the marketplace. These were the flux. Felicia, well, it went from Folonica, it went from $7 out to $12. The next runner who bled, unfortunately, Kill Winning Option, it went from $5 out to as much as $8.50 or even $9. It only started 7. It bled, as I say. Happy Finish, $16 into 14. Key West, a bit hard to lay. It went from $3.80 out to $4.60. Norma's Betty Boy, well backed, $7.50 out to $9.50. Back into about a 13-to-2 chance. His opening quote, $7.50. Carmine King, they took, well, you wouldn't see it. We put it up a $4 chance, 3-to-1 favourite or second pick. It got out to as much as $5, which as I say, you wouldn't see. $4.60, I think, might have been the best fluck, if that. It only started, I think it started $4. Was into $3.80 at one stage, but got back out to $4. Nash Rambler didn't have a price. $13, a 12-to-1 chance, doubled that, out to 25-to-1 on my board when they jumped, couldn't lay it. But the winner, Bardia, who settled down a clear last, hasn't any pace, as much as $7.50 was bet about it. Returned $5.50. You believe it or not, I laid it at $5 when they jumped. It was 13-to-2 into 9-to-2. As I say, it was a clear last at the 800-metre mark, pulled wide around their heels after straightening by Father Schofield, and he was able to get there on the line. The pace was on all of the way. Going straight to the lead was Nash Rambler. On its outside was Carmine King, resuming from a spell. It wasn't resuming. It stuck on all right, but it was a bit disappointing. Key West, very disappointing. Got the beautiful run, 3rd on the fence. It's a very, very overrated horse, Key West. On its outside was Kill Winning Option. It finished up being beaten 14 lengths. As I say, bled. Tucked away on the fence, Happy Finish, who it ran a fair race after getting a middle split. On its outside, Norma's Betty Boy, who will be improved by the run. The horse watchers said it was a little bit big today. Then we had the second horse who made up plenty of ground, Folonica, and it's only been beaten 0.2 of a length, and 3 lengths behind it, as I said, coming to the 800-metre mark, was the winner. It was a little bit too strong. It had a short break, 34 days, whatever, appreciated the going and was able to get there on the line to win, and was extremely well backed. That was about the meeting. We've got, of course, no provincials on tomorrow, but they haven't missed us. We'll have to look at it, but we've got Bathurst and Taree. I'll be down where will they race at Taree? Down the outside fence or somewhere. The punters haven't got a 1,001 chance. And, of course, then we've got Gosford. Gosford's on Friday, and there'll be another meeting out wide somewhere, I suppose. And then we've got we're back at headquarters on Saturday. So if you were whatever you sort of wire netting you were doing today, I hope you won. Good evening.